At the very moment the bride was about to say her vows, the giant screen behind the wedding altar suddenly lit up. It was not a romantic video celebrating a love story. Instead, it displayed DNA test results, a property transfer document, and an audio recording powerful enough to turn the most beautiful wedding into the day the entire Whitmore family fell apart. Clara Whitmore stood beneath an arch covered in white flowers, her hands trembling slightly inside delicate lace gloves. To the guests, she was the lucky bride. To her mother, Eleanor, she was the final piece in a property game that had been unfolding for years. The groom, Daniel Reeves, wore a gentle smile, but there was something unsettled in his eyes. He knew Clara truly loved him. He also knew her family had never accepted this marriage because of love. They accepted it because of an inheritance. The Whitmore family possessed enormous wealth, yet the rightful heir was neither the arrogant eldest son nor the mother who always appeared to relatives as a symbol of morality and grace. It was Clara, the young woman who had long been seen as weak, easy to control, and not intelligent enough to understand what the adults were hiding behind their smiles. When the priest asked Clara whether she would take Daniel as her husband, Eleanor tightened her grip on the purse in her hand. She had waited for this moment for a very long time because immediately after the wedding, a clause within the family trust would be activated. If Clara married, control of part of her assets could be transferred to her husband during the early years of the marriage, and Eleanor believed Daniel was on her side. But Daniel was not looking at her. He was looking at Clara, his eyes heavy with the burden of someone about to confess a secret that might hurt her, yet was also the only way to save her. Just as Clara parted her lips to speak, the screen behind them came to life. The entire wedding hall fell silent. The first secret appeared. Across the screen were the words DNA test results. Clara was not the biological daughter of the man she had called father for 30 years. Whispers spread through the room like an icy wind. Clara's brother jumped to his feet. Eleanor turned pale but struggled to keep her voice calm, as if denying the truth strongly enough could somehow make it disappear. But the screen continued. An audio recording echoed through the hall. Eleanor's voice was clear, cold, and impossible to deny. She admitted that she had altered Clara's birth records, concealed her true identity, and kept her within the Whitmore family only because she was the legal heir of her deceased biological father. Clara stood frozen. For a moment, she could not hear the guests, could not see the lights, and could not even feel the bouquet slipping from her fingers. She could only look at her mother, the woman who had taught her to be grateful, the woman who had made her believe that love always came with conditions. Then came the second secret, one that left the entire room holding its breath. Just as Eleanor was about to step onto the stage, the family lawyer emerged from the back row. He did not raise his voice. He simply placed a folder on the podium and explained that, according to Clara's biological father's instructions, the entire estate belonged to Clara once she reached adulthood, regardless of marriage, and regardless of anyone within the Whitmore family. Eleanor had hidden that fact for years. But there was more. The lawyer opened another document, a forged property transfer agreement, where Clara's signature had been falsified to transfer ownership of the main family mansion to her brother. His face turned ghostly white. The sister-in-law who had always looked down on Clara lowered her head and avoided the cameras. Everyone who had once viewed Clara as a girl living on the family's charity now had to watch her standing in the middle of the wedding hall as the true owner of everything. Clara turned toward Daniel. Her eyes were filled with tears, but her voice was barely above a whisper. "How long have you known about this?" Daniel swallowed hard. He explained that he had learned part of the truth when Eleanor asked him to sign a postnuptial agreement designed to control Clara's assets. At first, he believed it was simply a standard arrangement used by wealthy families, but when he discovered the forged signatures and the DNA records, he could not remain silent. He gave everything to the lawyer, not to destroy the wedding, but to make sure Clara would not walk into a marriage built on a lie. The entire hall fell silent once again. In many family drama Reddit stories, people wait for a betrayal. But in this Reddit family drama story, the greatest shock was not who lied, it was who chose to tell the truth at the most dangerous moment. Clara chose herself. Eleanor burst into tears, but those tears no longer carried the power they once had. She called Clara her daughter. She insisted that everything she had done was to protect the family. Clara looked at her for a very long time. Then she removed her veil. No anger. No screaming. No breakdown. Only a calmness so profound that it seemed to chill the entire room. She said that family was not a place where people used love as an excuse to imprison a child inside a lie. Family was not a place where wealth mattered more than truth, and a real mother would never turn her child into the key to a vault. Daniel stepped forward, but Clara raised her hand and stopped him. She thanked him for telling the truth, but she also needed to leave that wedding hall alone, not as a bride, not as an heiress, but as a woman who was finally free. Clara walked out of the venue through a heavy silence. Behind her were wedding flowers, a white gown, confused faces, and a family that had just lost control of the person they had underestimated the most. That wedding never received its vows, but it did set a truth free. And sometimes, dramatic storytelling does not need a fairy tale ending. It only needs a woman brave enough to walk away from the place that once convinced her she had no value. If this story reminded you of a family secret that was hidden for years, leave a comment below. Do you think Clara should forgive Daniel? Subscribe to the channel to follow more emotional family drama Reddit stories, where the truth always finds its way back home.